This is BBC Two Wales, where now we continue our special season to commemorate the work of a great modern playwright, Samuel Beckett. Awake for Sam.
Our celebration continues this evening with two of Beckett's one-act plays, Krapp's Last Tape and A. Joe. Each features one of Beckett's favourite interpreters, Jack McGowran as Joe, Patrick Magee as Krapp. Beckett had heard Magee's unique, cracked voice on the radio, and he wrote the part of Krapp especially for him. The play opened at the Royal Court Theatre in 1958. Magee's definitive performance was recorded for the BBC in 1972 by the original stage director, Donald McQuinney.
Box 3, spool 5. Spool. Spool. Box 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 9. Good God. 7. Aha! The little rascal. Box 3. Spool 5. Box 3. Spool 5. Spool. Mother, at rest at last. The black ball. Black ball? The dark nurse. Slight improvement in bowel condition. Memorable what? Equinox. Memorable equinox. Memorable equinox. Farewell to love.
$39 today. Sound is up. $39 today, sound as a bell. Apart from my old weakness, and intellectually, I have now every reason to suspect it the crest of the wave, or thereabouts. Celebrated the awful occasion, as in recent years, quietly at the wine house. Not a soul. Sat before the fire with closed eyes, separating the grain from the husks. I jotted down a few notes on the back of an envelope. Good to be back in my den, in my old rags. Have just eaten, I regret to say, 3 bananas, and only with difficulty refrained from a 4th. Fatal things for a man of my condition. Cut them out. The new light above my table is a great improvement. With all this darkness round me, I feel less alone. In a way. I love to get up and move about in it, then back here to me. Krapp. The grain. Now, what I wonder do I mean by that? I suppose I mean those things worth having when all the dust has... when all my dust has settled. I close my eyes and try and imagine them. Extraordinary silence this evening. I strain my ears and do not hear a sound. Old Miss McGlone always sings at this hour, but not tonight. Songs of her girlhood, she says. Hard to think of her as a girl. Wonderful woman, though. Connot, I fancy. Shall I sing when I am her age, if I ever am? Did I sing as a boy? No. Did I ever sing? No. I've just been listening to an old year, passages at random. I didn't check in the book, but it must be at least 10 or 12 years ago. At that time, I think I was still living on and off with Bianca in Keeler Street. Well, out of that, Jesus, yes, hopeless business. Not much about her, apart from a tribute to her eyes. Very warm. I suddenly saw them again. Incomparable. Oh, well. These old PMs are gruesome, but I often find them... a help before embarking on a new retrospect. Hard to believe I was ever that young whelp. The voice, Jesus, and the aspirations, and the resolutions. To drink less in particular. Statistics. 1,700 hours out of the preceding 8,000 odd consumed on licensed premises alone. More than 20%, say 40% of his waking life. Plans for a less engrossing sexual life. Last illness of his father, flagging pursuit of happiness, unattainable laxation, sneers at what he calls his youth, and thanks to God it's over. False ring there. Shadows of the opus magnum. Closing with a yelp to Providence. What remains of all that misery? A girl in a shabby green coat on a railway station platform? No. When I look, back on the year that is gone, with what I hope is perhaps a glint of the old eye to come, there is, of course, the house on the canal where Mother lay dying in the late autumn after her long vacuity, and the... dying after her long vacuity, and the...
State or condition of being or remaining a widow or widower. Being or remaining. Deep weeds of viduity. Also of an animal, especially a bird. The vidua or weaver bird. Black plumage of male. The vidua bird.
Bench by the weir, from where I could see her window. There I sat in the biting wind, wishing she were gone. Hardly a soul, just a few regulars, nursemaids, infants, old men, dogs. I got to know them quite well. Oh, by appearance, of course, I mean. One dark young beauty I recollect particularly, all white and starch, incomparable bosom, with a big black hooded perambulator, most funereal thing. Whenever I looked in her direction, she had her eyes on me, and yet when I was bold enough to speak to her, not having been introduced, she threatened to call a policeman, as if I had designs on her virtue. The face she had, the eyes like chrysolite. Oh, well. I was there when... the blind went down. One of those dirty brown roller affairs, throwing a ball for a little white dog as chance would have it. I happened to look up, and there it was, all over and done with at last. I sat on for a few moments with the ball in my hand and the dog yelping and pawing at me. Moments. Her moments. My moments. The dog's moments. In the end, I held it out to him, and he took it in his mouth, gently, gently. A small, old, black, hard, solid rubber ball. I shall feel it in my hand until my dying day. I might have kept it, but I gave it to the dog. Ah, well. Spiritually, a year of profound gloom and indigence, until that memorable night in March at the end of the jetty in the howling wind, never to be forgotten, when suddenly I saw the whole thing, the vision at last. This, I fancy, is what I have chiefly to record this evening against the day when my work will be done and perhaps no place left in my memory, warm or cold, for the miracle that... for the fire that set it alight. What I suddenly saw then was this, that the belief I had been going on all my life, namely... great granite rocks, the foam flying up in the light of the lighthouse and the wind gauge spinning like a propeller, clear to me at last that the dark I have always struggled to keep under is in reality my most... unshatterable association until my dissolution of storm and night with the light of the understanding of the fire. My face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us gently up and down, and from side to side, past midnight. Never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I end. Upper lake with the punt, bathed off the bank, then pushed out into the stream and drifted. She lay stretched out on the floorboards with her hands under her head and her eyes closed. Sun blazing down, bit of a breeze, water nice and lively. I noticed a scratch on her thigh and asked her how she came by it. Picking gooseberries, she said. I said again I thought it was hopeless and no good going on, and she agreed, without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments, she did. But the eyes just slits because of the glare. I bent over her to get them in the shadow, and they opened. Let me in. We drifted in among the flags and stuck. The weather went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us gently up and down and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew.
Just been listening to that stupid bastard I took myself for 30 years ago. Hard to believe I was ever as bad as that. Well, thank God that's all done with anyway. The eyes she had. Everything there. Everything. All the... Everything there. Everything on this old muck ball. all the light and dark and famine and feasting of the ages. Yes. Let that go. Jesus. Take his mind off his homework. Jesus. Oh, well. Maybe he was right. Maybe he was right. Nothing to say. Not a squeak. What's a year now? The sour cud and the iron stool reveled in the word spool. Spool. Happiest moment of the past 500,000. 17 copies sold, of which 11 at trade price to free circulating libraries beyond the seas. Getting known. £1, 6 and something. 8, I have little doubt. Crawled out once or twice before the summer was cold. Sat shivering in the park, drowned in dreams and burning to be gone. Not a soul. Last fancy. Sheep ran under. Scalded the eyes out of me reading Effie again. Page a day with tears again. Effie. Could have been happy with her up there on the Baltic, and the pines, and the dunes. Could I? And she? There. Fanny came in a couple of times, bony old ghost of a whore. Couldn't do much, but I suppose better than a kick in the crotch. Last time wasn't so bad. How do you manage it, she said, at your age? I told her I'd been saving up for her all my life. Went to Vespers once, like when I was in short trousers. Now the day is over, night is drawing nigh, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. Went to sleep and fell off the pew. Sometimes wondered in the night if a last effort mightn't. Finish your booze now and get to your bed. Go on with this drivel in the morning, or leave it at that. Leave it at that. Lie propped up in the dark and wander. Be again in the dingle on the Christmas Eve, gathering holly, the red berry. Be again on Croghan on a Sunday morning in the haze with the bitch. Stop and listen to the bells. And so on. Be again. Be again. All that old misery once wasn't enough for you. Lie down across her.
she said. I said again I thought it was hopeless and no good going on, and she agreed, without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments, she did. But the eyes just slits because of the glare. I bent over her to get them in the shadow, and they opened. Let me in. We drifted in among the flags and stuck. The weather went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us gently up and down and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I end this reel. Box 3, spool 5. Perhaps my best years are gone, when there was a chance of happiness. But I wouldn't want them back. Not with the fire in me now. No, I wouldn't want them back.
A. Joe was Beckett's first play to be written for television. This production, supervised by Beckett himself, was first shown in 1966. Joe is played by Jack McGowan, who always seemed instinctively and physically ideal to interpret many of Beckett's characters. Jack McGowan died 17 years ago on the 31st of January, and so this showing becomes not only a tribute to a great playwright, but also a celebration of his collaboration with this fine actor.
Joe. Joe. Thought of everything. Forgotten nothing. You're all right now, eh? No one can see you now. No one can get at you now. Why don't you put out that light? There might be a louse watching you. Why don't you go to bed? What's wrong with that bed, Joe? You changed it, didn't you? Made no difference? Or is it the heart already? Crumbles when you lie down in the dark. Dry, rotten at last. Hey, Joe. The best's to come, you said that last time, hurrying me into my coat. Last I was favored with from you. The best's to come. Say it you now, Joe, no one will hear you. Come on, Joe, no one can say it like you. Say it again now and listen to yourself. The best's to come. You were right for once. In the end. You know that penny farthing hell you call your mind? That's where you think this is coming from, don't you? That's where you heard your father. Isn't that what you told me? Started in on you one June night and went on for years. On and off. Behind the eyes. That's how you were able to throttle him in the end. Mental thuggy, you called it. One of your happiest fancies. Mental thuggy. Otherwise, he'd be plaguing you yet. Then your mother, when her hour came. Look up, Joe. Look up. We're watching you. Weaker and weaker till you laid her too. Others. All the others. Such love he got. God knows why. Pitying love, none to touch it. And look at him now, throttling the dead in his head. Anyone living love you now, Joe? Anyone living sorry for you now? That slut that comes on Saturday, you pay her, don't you? Penny a hoist, tuppence as long as you like. Watch yourself you don't run short, Joe. Ever think of that? Hey, Joe, what'd it be if you ran out of us? Not another soul to still. Sit there in his stinking old wrapper, hearing himself, that lifelong adorer. Weaker and weaker till not a gasp left there either. Is it that you want? Well preserved for his age and the silence of the grave. That old paradise you are always harping on. No, Joe. Not for the likes of us. I was strong myself when I started. In on you. Wasn't I, Joe? Normal strength. Like those summer evenings in the green. In the early days of our idyll. When we sat watching the ducks. Holding hands, exchanging vows. How you admired my elocution. Among other charms, voice like flint glass, to borrow your expression. Powerful grasp of language you had. Flint glass. You could have listened to it forever. And now this, squeezed down to this. How much longer would you say? Till the whisper. You know, when you can't hear the words. Just the odd one here and there. That's the worst. Isn't it, Joe? Isn't that what you told me? Before we expire, the odd word, straining to hear. Why is that, Joe? Why must you do that when you're nearly home? What matter then what we mean? It should be the best. Nearly home again, another stilled. And it's the worst. Isn't that what you said? The whisper, the odd word, straining to hear, brain tired squeezing. It stops in the end. You stop it in the end. Imagine if you couldn't. Ever think of that? If it went on, the whisper in your head, me whispering at you in your head, things you can't catch, on and off, till you join us. Hey, Joe. How's your Lord these days? Still worth having? Still lapping it up? The passion of our Joe. Wait till he starts talking to you when you're done with yourself. All your dead, sitting there in your foul old wrapper. Very fair health for a man of his years. Just that lump in his boobo. Silence of the grave without the maggots. To crown your labours, till one night, thou fool thy soul. Put your thugs on that. Hey, Joe, ever think of that? When he starts in on you, when you're done with yourself, if you ever are. Yes, great love, God knows why. Even me. But I found a better, as I hope you heard. Preferable in all respects. Kinder, stronger, more intelligent, better looking, cleaner, truthful, faithful, sane. Yes, I did all right. But there was one didn't. You know the one I mean, Joe. The green one, the narrow one. Always pale, the pale eyes, spirit made light, to borrow your expression, the way they opened after, unique. Are you with me now? Hey, Joe, there was love for you. There come, you said, bundling her into her avoca sack, her fingers fumbling with the big horn buttons. Take it in your pocket for the first morning flight. You've heard from her, haven't you? You've laid her. Of course he has. She went young. No more old lip from her. Ever hear what happened? She didn't say. Just the announcement in the Independent. On Mary's beads we plead her needs, and in the Holy Mass. Will I tell you? Not interested? Well, I will, just the same. I think you should know. That's right, Joe. Squeeze away. Don't lose heart now. When you're nearly home, I'll soon be gone. the last of them, unless that poor slut's hooked. Then yourself, that old bonfire, years of that stink, then the silence, a dollop of that to crown all, till his nibs, one dirty winter night. Mud thou art. All right. Warm summer night, all sleeping, sitting on the edge of her bed in her lavender slip. You know the one. Ah, she knew you, heavenly powers. Faint lap of sea through open window. Gets up in the end and slips out as she is. Moon, stock, down the garden and under the viaduct. Sees from the seaweed the tide is flowing. Goes on down the edge and lies down with her face in the wash. Cut a long story short, doesn't work. Gets up in the end, sopping wet, and back up to the house. Gets out the Gillette, the make you recommended for her body hair. Back down the garden and under the viaduct. Takes the blade from the holder and lies down at the edge on her side. Cut another long story short, doesn't work either. You know how she always dreaded pain. Tears a strip from the slip and ties it round the scratch. Gets up in the end and back up to the house. Slip clinging the way wet silk will. This all new to you, Joe? Hey, Joe. Gets out the tablets and back down the garden and under the viaduct. Takes a few on the way. Unconscionable hour by now. Moon going off the shore behind the hill. Stands a bit looking at the beaten silver. Then starts along the edge to a place further down near the rock. Imagine what in her mind to make her do that. Imagine trailing her feet in the water like a child. Takes a few more on the way. Will I go on, Joe? Hey, Joe. Lies down in the end with her face a few feet from the tide, clawing at the shingle now. Has it all worked out this time? Finishes the tube. There's love for you. Hey, Joe. Scoops a little cup for her face in the stones. The green one, the narrow one, always pale. The pale eyes, the look they shed before, the way they opened after. Spirit made light. Wasn't that your description, Joe? All right, you've had the best. Now imagine, before she goes, imagine, face in the